We start this episode of the Ty Walker Show out with breaking news as former Bears quarterback Justin Fields has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a conditional 2025 sixth round pick. So Justin Fields will be heading off to Pittsburgh. So it looks like we'll be having a quarterback battle between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in Pittsburgh in this offseason. So 2 quarterback deals made by Pittsburgh so far, which ultimately means the Bears may be drafting USC quarterback Caleb Williams. So most likely, Chicago will keep hold of the number 1 overall pick. There is obviously talks that they would trade it, but it looks like with Justin Fields going to Pittsburgh, the number 1 overall pick will stay in Chicago. Now we get to a little segment we like to call Fast News, where we talk about the top stories from this week, just pretty fast. Obviously, the big story of the week in the NFL, and trade-wise, Keenan Allen going to Chicago. So Chicago making a lot of moves so far this offseason. They give a 4th-round pick to the LA Chargers for wide receiver Keenan Allen. This now means the best wide receiver currently in LA is Quentin Johnston. So they have $23 million in cap space now. They went from the worst cap situation to one of the better situations now in cap. So we'll just see what the Chargers do here with Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh to see if they can stack some weapons in free agency and possibly draft somebody in the draft. They have the number 5 overall pick. A lot of people saying Malik Neighbors possibly the opportunity, or maybe trade up, get Marvin Harrison Jr. So we'll see what they do right now with the LA Chargers with Jim Harbaugh. Big news in New York, Jets signed offensive lineman Tyron Smith. So obviously that was something that the Jets really struggled with last year, was the offensive line. So they bolster it up with the top offensive lineman in free agency. So Aaron Rodgers will get a little bit of protection this year with Tyron Smith. So that's going to be good news, at least for Aaron Rodgers. That's if he plays, because, well, there was rumors going around he may be Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s vice president. Yeah, it's the craziest story I've ever heard. But I doubt Aaron Rodgers will play football if he does become the vice president. So I don't think he will, but it's a crazy story nonetheless. But Aaron Rodgers with help on the offensive line. Staying in New York Jets willing to trade wide receiver Allen Lazard. They brought him in last year in free agency. Was one of the people Aaron Rodgers wanted to bring with him. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers played 1 game. Allen Lazard's productivity wasn't very high, and now the risk of him trading him is likely now from New York. But let's go ahead and get to our top story of the week. What we're going to mostly focus on in this episode of the Ty Walker Show is the Chiefs signing so far. So the Chiefs, well, they've made one flashy move. Most of the moves they've done right now have just been re-signing guys. They've signed 2 new guys to the team. One of them a very flashy signing in Marquise Hollywood Brown, and the 26-year-old speedster. Very team-friendly contract. 1 year, up to $11 million, $7 million guaranteed. He had a 1,000-yard season with Lamar Jackson, and his offensive coordinator was Greg Roman. Went to Arizona, had played more games with with Colt McCoy and Joshua Dobbs than he did Kyler Murray. So here's kind of the rundown on Hollywood Brown from Concerns Chief. The truth about Hollywood Brown. Point 1, he's only missed 10 games in 5 seasons. A lot of people tried arguing he was injury prone. He's missed 10 games in 5 seasons. That's not bad. Bullet number 2, has a career drop rate of 3.6. That's another thing people try to point out there is like, oh, he drops the ball a lot. He really doesn't. Compared to some of these wide receivers that the Chiefs had last year, that's pretty good. Bullet number 3, drafted into an offense that passed the ball 20 times a game. Like I mentioned with the Greg Roman offense, they were a run-first team with Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, a run-first offense. Next bullet, he was like I just mentioned, a 1,000-yard receiver in the boring, non-creative Greg Roman offense that runs the ball. Next bullet, played for 2 years in Arizona, and like I mentioned, had more games with Joshua Dobbs and Colt McCoy as his QB1 than Kyler Murray. And the last bullet, kind of hit point on this, his contract with Kansas City is a bargain / team friendly. Obviously, I think after this year, he'll probably get a payday. It's what happens a lot of times when you play with Patrick Mahomes. You get a good season with Patrick Mahomes, you get a payday. It's what happened to Juju Smith-Schuster. Signed to a 1-year team-friendly deal, kind of a prove-it deal, and then got paid in New England. Tyreek Hill, same thing, played with Kansas City, got traded to Miami, got the bag in Miami. So I think if you haven't noticed by now, this was a steal for Kansas City. I mean, you get a guy who's got a 1,000-yard season in a run-first offense with Lamar Jackson, who's 26 years old, who is very fast, for $11 million, up to $11 million, and $7 million guaranteed, man. I mean, that's about as team-friendly as you get, as in a contract-wise, with Kansas City. So for Kansas City, the other free agent deals that they did make, the only new guy they signed was tight end Irv Smith Jr. I believe he was the starting tight end in Minnesota. Then last year he was in Cincinnati with the Bengals. So presuming with this Irv Smith signing, league minimum pretty much, probably going to be the third tight end right now in our rotation. Just going to come in 12, 13-man packages. Kind of like Irv Smith's bread and butter. And that's pretty much when we will see Irv Smith come in. Good run blocker. So would be perfect in the run. And then other free agent moves, pretty much just re-signing Turk Wharton, Derek Nottie on the defensive line. Obviously with Chris Jones, Drew Tranquill, which brought both of them back to extensions. Also re-signed Deion Bush, James Winchester, our long snapper. Najee Johnson missed last year due to a torn ACL in training camp, who was really promising looking last year, so we re-signed him as well. So that's pretty much been all the Chiefs' moves so far in pre-agency as of recording this episode. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about all the moves the Chiefs have made. And obviously my favorite is the Hollywood Brown move, just because the Chiefs needed the wide receiver help, and they get one of the best in free agency in Hollywood Brown. But tell me what you guys think. I'm Ty Walker from The Ty Walker Show, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.